Salutations, kindred souls. Welcome back to Lux Martin Enlightenment. I'm Lux, and this is the channel where we talk about all things enlightenment, not the kind that transcends life, but the kind that you find right smack in the middle of it. Today is going to be a little unscripted, but I feel so strongly to talk about it that I kind of wanted to just get on here and flow with it. I wanted to talk about a duality, actually, that nicely dovetails off my last episodes, that has been very strongly showing up in my life, and that is essentially how should I hack life, the strategy on how you should do life. And in my experience, there are the two extremes of hustle culture, or as Layla Hormozy likes to say it, fuck your feelings, follow the plan. And then the Abraham Hicks sort of style, which is the art of allowing and following your intuitive nudges. And those can be essentially considered ways humans do life, of grind it out, bust it out, work hard, be a high achiever, or follow every now moment doing exactly what you feel called to do. And so I'm not here to bash either of those. I actually think that we are meant to navigate the middle. I think we're designed to function better in one more so than the other. But I want to actually talk a little bit about my experience with that. I want to identify some of the strengths and weaknesses of each of those. And I want to talk about how riding through the middle of those may actually be what we're called to do here in this life. So I want to start by identifying the grind it out, high achieving, fuck your feelings, follow the plan mindset. I do like Layla Hormozy. I do like her philosophy. I like her get it done, a high achieving attitude. And here are what I see are the strengths of that. I see in that type of lifestyle a lot of structure, a lot of discipline. High achieving people that run the world are very much those types of people. And we need those types of people in the world. We need that, I don't want to say masculine so much, but it is a masculine energy. We need that structure and discipline to help make the world go round. And we need people that operate well in that avenue of life to help us get stuff done. So I really do feel like the overall structure and productivity is a key component to perpetuating, human advancement. It's a good thing. I have always grown up feeling like that was important to me. I feel like some of the weaknesses of that hack, that lifestyle, is at all costs, which can be of varying degrees. It can be of human health, human sanity, money, relationships. So usually that type of high structure and drive and discipline comes with costs. And sometimes those costs are painful, others not so much. A lot of times people tend to ignore those costs, or they don't realize the impact of them until much later. And then let's kind of flip to the other side and talk about a little bit more of that Abraham Hicks mindset, or there's some other channels I listen to where it's very much love and light, go with the flow, do as you please sort of thing. And I will say that right off the get-go, that has kind of a negative connotation to it because it sounds very airy-fairy, very lackadaisical. And so, yes, there are the not so productive or the not so helpful aspect of that life is that doesn't always make the world go round. And although someone might be very happy in living that way, that doesn't mean they're necessarily fulfilling any purpose, let alone their own life's purpose. And so you can get very stalled out in that because you're moving essentially in stalemating or in circles instead of any particular passionate direction. However, a strength of that lifestyle is, at least what I've noticed, is that when you live from a place of inspiration and you do as you are inspired, what you do tends to be better. It tends to have great output, whether that's who you help or who you love on or the family you take care of or doing a great job at work. When you are coming from a full cup because you rest when you need to, you don't overexert yourself, you say no to what you don't want to say yes to, you have a wellspring of energy in which what you give from is always from a more bountiful, more joyful, more happy place. And so I will say the major strength in discovering that lifestyle is that it's essentially operating from the place of I fill my cup first because I do what I want when I want, and I don't say yes to the things I wanted to say no to. And so people that live from that mindset will often just function better at whatever they choose to do because they don't experience burnout. So what I want to share now is a little bit of my experience for both of these lifestyles, because I very much think I have experienced both. And the only reason I really want to share is because I hope that it relates to somebody, and that if you are like me in any of these areas or experiences, you would light bulb and see how this is relating to your life and what you want to do about it with this realization. So in my experience, I spent the good majority of my life in high achieving, high driving, disciplined energy. Go get 'em, hustle, grind it out culture. I was raised by parents that worked very hard. I did sports that were very demanding. I was a musician, so I did very high achieving things my whole life, regardless of whether I did them because they were fun or I was good at them or it was coming from a place of wounding or insecurity or looking for validation. It could have been a mixture of all of those things. But I have spent most of my life in that high achieving, high desiring place. But what took me a really long time to realize is that I was continually going through cycles of burnout. So I would just fry my body, my psyche, everything at all costs, because I thought that I needed to have these things, hit this milestone, achieve this status at all costs. And it was usually the cost of me. And so after many, many years, I mean, I don't think I even realized that this was happening until my 30s, when I stopped to ask myself, wow, you believe that you can have everything you want if you just worked harder, or that you don't have the success you wanted because you just aren't working hard enough. But if you've done that for 30 years and it still isn't working, something's got to give in this process. There is something still not going right about this. And so what I really started to analyze and ask myself was, do I actually even resonate with hustle culture? And the more I kind of swung over into the willy-nilly art of allowing phase, which I'll talk about in a second, the more I started to realize, no, I do not. It doesn't feel good in my human to think about and embody and embrace hustle culture, grind it out at all costs. Okay, I'm just so tired of feeling tired. And I'm tired of feeling unfulfilled in that tiredness. If you know anything about human design, you would know, which I can talk about in another episode, you would know that a generator, which is what I am, is someone who loves to work hard, and that whatever you're passionate about working hard at should tire you out in a happy exhaustion kind of way. When you come home at the end of your day, if you were doing the things a generator genuinely loves to do, your tiredness is in a place of satisfaction, not exhaustion and draining and overwhelm. And so I've spent most of my life being a generator that works for things that did not refuel me. And so I was constantly operating from an empty cup. And so that's when I kind of went, forget all of this. I'm going to swing over to the other side and try that for a while. So I will say that I have lived in and have tried to appreciate hustle culture and grind it out mindset for most of my life, the good majority of it. But I will say that there's something inside of me that I don't think I've even fully sorted out yet, where I really appreciate the value in that mindset and how it does make the world go round, and how nice it feels to do things, to be productive and make things happen in the world. But in the way that the world was asking me to do it, I could no longer sustain. There is something still inside me that really finds that attractive. I don't know if it's just that sake of status, or that sake of, if I hit this, if I be this, if I achieve this, I'll be happy. So I'm going to admit to you, there's probably something there that I'm still working through, because even today I noticed there was something that happened in my day where I was like, man, I really wish I could be in that room with those people. I want to be that inner circle. I want to do what those people do. I want that elite caliber lifestyle because I believe I'm capable of achieving of it. And yet then I remember, no, you do, but you don't, because you're not willing to grind it out and to drive yourself into the ground to get there. And that is what a lot of lifestyle, or a lot of those avenues I see that I think I desire, require. And so at that point, I kind of throw up my hands and go, well, I'm going to wait on that then, because I don't really know if that's for me. So then I'll briefly talk about swinging over into the intuitive nudge lifestyle, I guess we'll call it, is where, for lack of a better phrase, it's kind of doing whatever you want whenever you want. And that sounds super lackadaisical and unproductive, but in a more constructive form, it's moving from inspired action. And so the healthy version of that to me is not needing every day to look the same, because you're feeling the nudges of what you feel pulled to do, what feels important to you to do, what feels exciting for you to do, and doing that, and then doing it with excitement and passion and good hard work ethic, and doing it in a way that gets you something, gets you somewhere. So I've recently had a lot of things blow up in my life: jobs, relationships, homes, finances, you name it, it's coming apart. And so I stopped letting the judgment and the pressure of that high work ethic, like hard discipline structure, pound down on me with raining judgment of, yeah, but you're a failure because you this and you lost that and you don't have this. And I kind of just had to let it all go for a minute and give myself the space to breathe and fill my own cup. And so until very recently, that looked like a whole lot of nothing, or a whole lot of whatever I wanted in a day, even if it was just sitting and looking at the flowers. But I finally got to a place where I remembered what it felt like to work from inspired action, to work from not a to-do list or not that backlashing drive of gotta, but I worked from a place of, ooh, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to work hard at it and knock it out, get it done. And then it felt great because I did. So I finally started to discover how good that felt to my human, to operate from that place of not just, well, I don't feel like doing it today, because we all have to do things we don't want to do. You got to wash your clothes when you run out of clean laundry. You got to make car payments. You got to make car insurance payments. There are things in life that we all got to do because we live in this human matrix. But I put less structure on myself of when and how and why and where it has to get done. And I noticed that by letting myself be inspired to work hard at this, and then inspired to work hard at that, and then inspired, and one thing comes after another, no, it doesn't progress in a linear fashion at all, and it doesn't look like consistency at all. But I feel better in the doing of it. And there are still many days that I can recall and notice of myself lately that I got a lot of crap done in a day. And so just because it doesn't look like forget your feelings, follow the plan, or grind it out, or get it done, or bust butt, or you're a nobody if you don't put in a 16-hour day, doesn't mean I didn't make significant forward momentum in my own life, in my soul purpose, in my 3D existence of human society. So they're two very different sides of the coin in my real time, in this one human experience. And so I hope that just by sharing all of that, somebody got something of like, oh yeah, I'm this way, or I know somebody that does that. What if you embraced a little bit of this? And so I'll round it all back out together with going back to that tightrope walking act, where hustle culture, grinded out, high efficiency and high discipline is this end of the stick. And the willy-nilly follow every intuitive nudge, do what I feel called to in every present moment on this end of the stick. And noticing that although there are people that operate a little better in one than the other, I think I've genuinely discovered in my life that I desire to have both in different contexts of my life. I think it would be super kick-ass to be the kind of woman that can be really soft and nurturing and present moment by moment in home with a family, with the ones I love, or with the kids I coach. I feel like I love being that woman, and I also love being the woman that can talk business and get a room to listen to me and get a high achieving goal or a really high important deadline done, because I'm a freaking go-getter. I love that I can be both of those women. And I think that they can exist not necessarily at the same time, but they can exist in the same human. And there are different avenues of life, different hats of a life where you can utilize those. And I think that's what creates balance in an individual. And I want to talk about that later in another episode, where balance to me is of wiser caliber and of more fulfillment in life than one-sided expertise. So we'll go into that some other day. But I feel like the embracing of the fact that I can think like Layla and I can think like Abraham, both in the same day, but in different areas of my life and in different aspects of my life that are still a part of who Lux is as an integrated whole human soul, all of the things. and love life and be satisfied, and yet also play the human matrix game of being someone who does something purposeful with whatever y'all want to call and judge of a successful human life. So I think it's fair to say in conclusion that not one or the other extreme is really fruitful or productive. And that's where the ends of the polarity really can get to a toxic extent. But yet, balancing both or having the positives of both is truly amazing and benefiting in most human lives. I think I've noticed quite a bit of change even in the little ways of my life recently, of how when I really feel inspired to buckle down and do this paperwork or go get these errands run or do a great job at work today, I can kick ass at it. And then when I want to be soft and I want to be present with my animals or present with my loved ones or enjoying the moment for what it is instead of thinking about this deadline or this thing that's out there yet that I haven't achieved yet. I'm here now and I'm happy about it. And then I can have all of those things in one experience. I think that's truly a revolution of life, is understanding that there's going to be the Laylas of the world and there's going to be the Abrahams of the world, and we need both of them, yes. But how awesome would it be if we had more of some conglomerate, smushed together versions of those living as human carcasses in the world? So I hope I get to be one of those. But thank you for digesting this content with me, and I hope that you found some value in seeing how both life hack paths can be beneficial, can be extreme, but how navigating somewhere in the middle or plucking a little bit of that wisdom and a little bit of that wisdom and honing it into how you want to live your life, whether you've got jobs, families, kids, hobbies, sports, businesses, you got all the things that you're trying to coordinate. I'm asking you to consider how you don't have to be one or the other to have all of them. And that is something I'm also very passionate about, is believing that you should have all of those things that you want in some sort of balance. And I believe the way we can do that is not by expecting it to look just her way or just their way, but that it's some sort of combination of the both. So thank you for joining me on this complex and willy-nilly talking word vomit episode of Lux Martin Enlightenment. I'm Lux, and keep seeking, keep softening, keep showing up. The light you are looking for may just be the light you already are. Mwah.